Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Garg Saab, for my introduction. So I think I am going to give a different talk like we had earlier. I am going to talk about the solution of oil spills and what is the solution, and my talk would be mainly oil spill on land. Right now we have heard about oil spill on sea, but oil spill on land and why it is important for oil spill management in land, because in our country, most of oil wells are on onshore, we call on land. And I think many of you must have not seen the oil wells, the youngster. Oil wells are in the farmer's field. And from oil well, oil, water, and natural gas, these are coming together. And then from oil well to a central place they call GGS, Group Gathering Center, where they separate oil and water and gas. So there are underground pipelines in the farmer's field. So oil is transferred from oil well to central place processing plant they call GGS. So there is a huge pipeline networking in farmer's field around 1.5 meter deep from the surface. So this type of pipeline networking is huge in oil fields. Apart from this, oil is also transported to refineries in our country. All refineries are onshore. So there are around 20 refineries. So crude oil is transported through pipelines. So, and this is a very common problem. Once the pipeline will rupture, oil spill will occur. So in land, once the oil spill will occur in land, the land will become useless. And soil is very important, which is giving food grain to us. So once the land is spoiled, farmers will become jobless, and then it would be a big problem for our country. So what is the solution of this? So I'm going to talk about a natural solution of that. If such oil spill will occur on land, then what is the solution? Oil spill management on land is easier than oil spill on the sea. So I'm going to talk about this. So as we know that oil spill is a global problem. It's despite of best effort by consumer and oil producing company, oil spill incidents are increasing because of the operations are increasing. So oil spill is sort of unavoidable. It may occur any time. And once the oil spill will occur, then what is the solution? And I'm going to talk about oil spill management on the land. So what is the solution on land? How we can get rid of this crude oil? Crude oil is a natural hydrocarbon, organic carbon, which can be degraded by natural different specific type of microbes. Crude oil is not a man-made toxic carbon compound. It is a natural occurring organic compound which can be degraded, but not by all bacteria, by some specific bacteria. Like for instance, this paper, if I put on soil and cellulose degrading bacteria, after 5 days you will not find this paper. It will degrade. Similarly, crude oil is also a organic, natural occurring organic compound which can be degraded, but all types of bacteria will not able to degrade. There are specific type of bacteria, and there are large number of bacteria, thousands of bacteria. Like we are a zoo of bacteria. We are carrying so many types of bacteria in our gut. Even in this room, there may be hundreds of types of bacteria, but we don't know how to culture in the laboratory. Culture means domestication, how to use them. Once you domesticate, then we can use. Like tiger, we can't domesticate, so we can't use their energy. So similarly, these bacteria also you have to produce in the laboratory, and then you can use it, develop in some product form, then you can use. So like that, we can use these invisible microbes and we can use them for to find the solution of this type of problem. So crude oil is, as I explained you, it's a natural occurring organic compound which is not a man-made toxic compound. Basically, it contains 4 types of major fractions. If we see, we can divide in 4 types of major fraction. The first fraction known as alkane or aliphatic fraction, like a candle wax, is a alkane fraction which can contain around 50 to 60% of crude oil. This is the alkane fraction in crude oil. Another major fraction in crude oil is known as aromatic fraction, which is around 20-25% fractions in crude oil. And third is NSO fraction, nitrogen, sulfur, oxygen containing hydrocarbons, which contain around 5 to 7 to 10%. And asphalt is another fractions which constitute around 3 to 4%. So this is the major composition of crude oil. If we see, so we need the bacteria which can degrade particular fractions. And we don't want a single bacteria which can degrade all the fractions. First of all, the single bacteria, a small tiny microbe, will not have the complete enzyme system to degrade all the fractions. Therefore, we need the specific type of bacteria which can degrade a particular fractions, and then they will degrade a particular fractions. To degrade this particular fraction, there will be different genes, and genes will synthesize different type of enzymes, and then this enzyme will digest this type of hydrocarbon compound. But from where we can get this bacteria? That is the question, that is the innovation. That from where we can get this bacteria? These bacteria are, we can't create in laboratory the bacteria, they are natural like human beings. They are also in the nature, from nature only we can get them. But how to get them in nature, that is the trick that generally scientists they do. And I am going to talk about this. So first, from where we can get this bacteria? So we can get the bacteria from soil. Soil is the rich source of bacteria. Soil is the richest source of bacteria. We can find thousands of types of bacteria in soil where organic carbon is there. So this is the one fraction we call aliphatic or alkane fraction. This is the, if you see them and analyze in the laboratory, we can see this type of compound. So if you feed them this compound, the bacteria which will be able to digest them, they will able to survive, rest they will die. So if I, in this bottle, I put this alkane fraction and put some nutrient and different types of bacteria, the bacteria which will able to digest this alkane fraction, they will survive because the food is this. If they will not able to digest, they will die. So like that we culture in the laboratory by providing specific food like alkane fraction, aromatic fractions. So those will able to degrade this fraction, they will survive because their food is this type of compound. Other bacteria, they will die because they will not get energy source, so they will die. So like that we did this natural selection by feeding them particular fraction and then see how they will able to degrade. But with this, we can see the concentration of this compound. If we feed them in a bottle and put the bacteria, their concentration will reduce. But we don't know where this hydrocarbon has gone. Whether they have converted into some other hydrocarbon which are water miscible, we can't see. So we don't know where this hydrocarbon. So we did the another investigation that we took a particular alkane compound. As I explained you, there are 30, 40, 50 types of alkane compounds. So we selected one compound selected and feed them, and then we can see this single compound is break down into various small compounds, and then we identify what are these small compounds. Then we can see that this single bacteria contain the enzyme which can degrade this particular fraction, break down into small hydrocarbon. Then we also feed these different fractions and then it will further degrade. So that means these compound, various small compounds, they will not accumulate in the nature, they will further degrade. So if we feed them this each fractions, they will further degrade. So that means this bacteria will not able to create another type of hydrocarbon which is more toxic or more problem. So they will further degrade. But this also we don't know what is the end product. So what we did, that we labeled this hydrocarbon with the C14 carbon. C14 is a radio level which is not there in nature. So we label them and feed this radio level carbon hydroaliphatic compound to bacteria, and we can see that this bacteria, single bacteria, they will convert into carbon dioxide which is also radio labeled. So that means the end product would be carbon dioxide and some fatty acids which will accumulate in their body in the bacterial cell protein. So that means this particular bacteria will able to degrade this aliphatic fraction or alkane fraction. So this will be known as complete degradation, or we call mineralization. Like this paper, it should completely degrade, not like small pieces like plastic. if plastic will break down into small microplastic. So then it's not completely degradation. Complete degradation means the end product should be carbon dioxide, water and biomass. The bacteria, they will get protein, so it will, their cell number will increase from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, like that their number will increase. So we selected this bacteria. It seems very easy, but it's very time consuming. Like that we have to select this particular bacteria for degradation of alkane fractions of hydrocarbon. Similarly, aromatic hydrocarbon fractions, which are around 25% of crude oil, the composition of this. And we also, from the nature, we collected the soil sample which are having the crude oil and feed them this aromatic fraction, a carbon source. No other energy source or food except these aromatic fractions. And then we can see that a few bacteria, they will able to degrade these aromatic fractions. Their concentration is reduced. Suppose I put here 200 gram. After 5 days, only 20 grams is remaining. So that means it has degraded. But here also, like as I explained you, whether it's a complete degradation or partially degradation. So did again the same study. Out of this aromatic compound, there are 40, 50 types of compounds. So we selected one pure compound out of this and all hydrocarbon, feed them, and we could see that it was also break down into small intermediate products. We identify these intermediate product, and these intermediate product further feed these bacteria, whether they will further degrade or not. Then we can see that it will further degrade. Then again with this, we did another similar type of that we labeled this aromatic fractions with the C14, and we could see that this compound was converted into radio level carbon dioxide. That means the source of this carbon dioxide is that aromatic fractions which degrade. And so like that we select these bacteria which can degrade particular fractions, and then we assemble them and make a consortium out of these selected bacteria. And then they will able to degrade the crude oil completely. And why we selected this? Because each species have a different food, different, their capability is to degrade particular fractions, so they will not fight with each other because their food is different. If they will have a same food, then they will fight with each other, there will be competition and their efficiency will go down. So the purpose is that they can live together in a synergy and they can do their job. And the benefit is that once you select this bacteria and apply in the contaminated soil and oil spill on the land, then these bacteria day and night they will do their job. They don't need power, they don't air condition, they don't need. So that is the beauty, that they can do the job, and then we can get rid of this oil spill on the land. So in the laboratory, it took us 6 years to find this type of bacteria and make a cocktail out of this. And then we produce them in bulk, make into powder form. And so after selection, it has to produce in bulk, like truckload, then only you can. So then we created a bioreactor facility where in one night we can produce 1 truckload of this bacteria, convert into powder form. And then wherever requirement is there, we take it and apply on the oil spill. So it took us 6 years. And bacteria like this, bacteria which we selected for here, like Indian condition, will not be applicable for all globally. There are very specific type of bacteria, different type of crude oil, different type of climatic condition. Similarly, we have done with Kuwait, in Kuwait where different Lamor, we are talking, they got the project earlier, we have done one project in there, we discover the new bacteria which are, Indian bacteria were not working there. So we got the new bacteria which are specific to Kuwait climatic condition. So like that, then these are the bioreactor where we can produce them in bulk. As I explained you that in a few hours we can produce 1 truckload of these bacteria. And then make in a powder form, pack them, and then transport in the refrigerated trucks to the site wherever it's required. And so this was the R&D work that the scientists they have done in the laboratory. Now it has to use in the field where large number of manpower, equipment, machinery is required. So what we did, we created a special purpose vehicle known as ONGC TERI Biotech Ltd, which is a joint venture of ONGC, in which ONGC is a 50% partner. This company we created in 2007. So all the field applications of this type of microbes is done by this company. I am a managing director of this company. So as I explained in ONGC, oil spill is a very, very common problem in farmers' field, as underground pipeline is passing and that pipeline rupture and oil spill. And underground, the oil once will come on the surface, then we will know that there is a pipeline rupture or pipeline leak. Otherwise, below surface, the oil will spread in the soil in large area. So this type of problem, like ONGC, they were facing, ONGC, Oil India, all they were facing this problem. And once this oil spill will occur, especially in June, May and June month, and then rainy season, it will spread in the larger area. So this was the big problem for ONGC. And then farmers used to get compensation. So the ONGC used to pay huge amount of compensation. And then with the same leakage, farmers again, they will, next year, they will say, because there was no solution for that. The crude oil will still remain there. So this was a big problem for ONGC and other oil companies, that how to find the solution of this. This is a big problem. Like after that, some farmers started wrong practicing in their field. They started pouring the crude oil to get the more compensations. They were getting more compensation than their crop income. So that was the big problem for oil companies, how to manage them. And that was not, their job is oil production. This was become a secondary problem for them. So after doing this, we started working to do this type of thing. So we have created the treatment facility we call bioremediation facility in the oil field. So wherever oil leakage is there, our team, they will excavate the entire contaminated soil and put in the bioremediation treatment site and put these bacteria. They are in powder form, mix them properly, and then the bacteria, they will decompose the hydrocarbon and soil will be cleaned. And after cleaning this soil, we use for refilling so wherever leakage is there, we excavate the entire soil, put in the treatment facility and backfill the soil. So we give this land back to farmer, like this piece of land. Within 2 days, we give back this land to farmer in the same condition. So the farmer problem is solved and there is no compensation. So this is the big solution for ONGC and other oil companies. So like that, we bring all the soil in the treatment and apply these bacteria, and then they will able to degrade. And we can see after that, once the oil is decomposed, site would be clean. In fact, it will be more fertile because a lot of protein would be added. After the oil is degraded, these bacteria, they will die because there is no carbon source for them, so they will die. So a lot of protein will added in the soil and it will become sort of a more fertile. So this type of problem is very common in oil field, not only in our country, it's a global problem. This is in farmer field. You can see how soil, I think everybody must have heard about this. Assam, last year there was a fire in Bagjan 5 well where there was a large oil spill. And we did this was a gas oil, so it was a condensate oil, light oil. So it spread in the large area because there was a lot of vegetation, so we can't use the skimmer on this type of thing. So a lot of manual cleaning was done in the forest area and farmer's field and this. And then after that, the contaminated soil, we applied these bacteria and then site was restored and given back to farmer. And now they started doing their agriculture practice there. We can see the site before and left side before and right side after the same. So it's very nice. Even the farmer, they surprised that it's like earlier they were having a similar problem. Similarly, the Kuwait, in 1990, there was a major oil spill. So we were knowing that there is a big oil spill in Kuwait. So we went there in in 2000, and in 2000 we thought that Indian bacteria will work there, and we went there and asked the Kuwait oil company to give us some sites so we can restore and then you can use. So this type of lakes were there, and but they said how you will do this. But we said that we are doing similar work, we can do this, no problem. But they said you have to check it again. But then we bought the Kuwait crude oil and their soil and put the Indian bacteria, and we see that Indian origin of bacteria, instantly they die in the Kuwait soil. And why it is happening? Then we found that Kuwait soil is highly saline. Salinity is more than seawater, and Kuwait crude oil is also very, very difficult, heavy oil crude oil. So they were not doing that. Then we went again, and then we discovered the new bacteria which are origin of Kuwait, because in summertime temperature will go 50 degrees Celsius, and in contaminated soil temperature will go 55 to 60 degrees, because black soil will absorb more heat. So we initially culture these bacteria which can withstand the temperature up to 65 degrees Celsius, and they can degrade high Kuwait type of crude oil and under high saline condition, which took us 4 or 5 years to do all this research work. And after that we did one project. So this was the oil lake, where around 1 meter deep. So we recovered this oil, and after recovery the soil around 1 meter deep, the entire soil was another oil lake. So we recovered this because it was a heavy oil, it was like a sludge. It's like a honey, thicker there. You can't pump by using any pump. It's a very, very thick. So we recover the entire oil. We install a oil recovery plant and given this recovered oil. And then the contaminated soil, these are the bacteria which are origin of Kuwait in powder form. We produce here and ship to Kuwait in the air conditioned container at 2 degrees Celsius. And then we use them. And Kuwait soil is a desert soil, no nutrient, water, dry soil. So we apply a lot of moisture, nutrient, and then these bacteria, they will be able to survive and degrade the crude oil. So we can see the lake on the left side, and after that we have grown the green plantation. So site is green. Another site. So this is the work that we have done in Kuwait. Currently, we are doing mainly oil spill management on land. We are not doing on sea. So most of these oil companies, they are using our services, and we have done the work outside country also. In Kuwait, we have done a major project for 7 years, and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and Yemen. This type of invention got lot of government peer-reviewed awards, not like nomination. It's a peer-reviewed competitive grant, government grant, government awards, we can see. So I think I will stop here to solution.